Hello, this is Artsy Wisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. Well, it happened. Trump got convicted on 34 counts. I didn't think it would happen completely. I thought maybe there'll be a few that they would be hung on or they would give him somehow some lesser charge. But no, sorry, Bob. So we have something to talk about because the next step will be sentencing and the GOP convention and how he reacted. And I have felt in the past that he was going to be really angry. Of course he's angry. He was bright red and he was upset. And so today what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to do some paper divination. Instead of me meditating on him beforehand, taking notes, which tends to be fairly accurate, I was going to experiment with this. I know it's my experimentation. Sometimes it's a hit or miss thing, but I found in the past that that really works. There's something with the energy of my hands that I put together that channels something and I get a lot of information. And I'm going to get into Trump's energy. I'm also concerned about his call to arms and the people that are surrounding the courthouses. And and there's a lot of fear about that. And so first of all, I want to say, let's just focus on justice for all. We're all Americans. Some people do criminal things and they get punished. That's what it is, regardless of what their age is, their demographic, their how wealthy they are, how poor they are. Well, we know poor people tend to not have the representation, so they go to jail more, but he is held accountable now. Now, in the past, in the jury room, I saw them being very organized and getting through this, and it felt like they were very methodical. Now, Judge Mershon, my dark chocolate backstop, he is being very serious about this situation. And I've seen him in the past. In fact, it was the last video, I think, or the one before that. I saw him reading law books, reading up on different ways of sentencing. If there's no precedent to this or no comparable situation, but he's doing a lot of research. He's doing a lot of thinking and going through scenarios in his mind to decide what he's going to do. So I'm going to look into that and see what's going on in his mind. I know there's a lot of time ahead and a lot of things can change, but I'm just going to do that. And yeah, so Trump is called arms, seeing how that's going to go. Now, last year or early in this year, I think it was, I had seen, due to some of these trials, people at courthouses or government buildings or state buildings, and there was some explosion. I hope it's not true. And I did see, that one guy, unfortunately, where he caught himself on fire and died in front of the Manhattan courthouse, which is horrible. But I thought maybe that was it, but maybe it's something bigger. I hope not. Let's all pray for harmony, understanding, equality, tolerance for all of us Americans, because we all are Americans. And let's put our energy towards less divisiveness if we can. But all right, so let's get started. Okay, now I know this is a little loud, so I'm going to put it under here when I crumple it. It's I don't know why I don't know how it works, but I've tried it in the past and it seems to work. So what I did see when I did this briefly a second ago is thank you for coming by. Thank you for all my views and likes and comments and questions. I'm trying to get to them all. Thank you very much. When I looked at him in his sentencing, and I had seen this before he was sentenced, or not sentenced, but he had the verdict read, shot up from the chair and the sound and him standing there angry. And I see him looking at the judge now where he hates him, he wants to kill him. I know he said that about Michael Cohen, but in this case, I feel like he's very, very angry. Like if he was free to do whatever he wants, he's got a guy who knows a guy, and that would get taken care of. I am really concerned about the juror security and the judge's security. I know they're supposed to be kept private or secret, anonymous, but I'm nervous. But anyway, let me just get started into Trump's energy. I see him being bright red. Of course, he was bright red in the courtroom and afterwards on his crazy speech or ranting speech, which all of it was false because it was a jury of 12 Manhattan citizens, and his lawyer could pick and choose who he wanted, although they only had so many strikes. But he just didn't want the outcome. He didn't like it, being held accountable. So what I feel inside of him when I'm feeling him standing there listening to the verdict, and he's shocked, really shocked. He's like, I can't believe this. And he immediately, I feel like I'm a boy. Like I felt like I am. There's something in his, this is a trigger for him from when he was a child. I don't know if it's punishment or scolding or something abusive that his father would do. But I have a sense of fear, like it's in my gut of this. It reminds me of that. I'm going to get in trouble. That's that feeling. Like, but not an adult. Well, maybe it is a little adult, but he's also feeling that he's angry. He actually isn't looking at the jurors too much. It's more about the judge, and he's focused now. Coming out. I see the orange ball that I see with him quite often, and I know he's an orange ball. Called him Orange Pumpkinhead a long time ago, Pumpkinhead. But right now, I just feel this confidence in him, confidence welling up, and it may be misplaced, but that's what he is. This is how he fights it. This is how he gets through things. He just attacks, doesn't let anything get at him. It's almost like he's got a sword and a shield, and he just, even if something tries to get at him, and he's always swinging it. So he's already, he's gotten lots of money, like $50 million, which is crazy, just as revenge money. People are calling in or sending money because they really think he's been cheated, and they think it's all a ploy to get him out of the race. There are so many people that believe that. I wish there was some way that there was one central way to give this news that everybody could believe. Okay, so he sees the money. He's already talking. I see him planning. He's talking with his people, rallies. The energy is really up on him. Like I feel his adrenaline is pumping really good. For him, he's so angry that I only feel like he's just planning a week ahead of time. I don't feel like he's planning like July. Maybe his staff is, but right now I feel like he's not, I don't know if he's that interested in planning and, that kind of thing. I think he just thinks week to week, transaction to transaction. And he's thinking about what he's going to do with that money. And I feel like the RNC is, do they get part of that, or does he have to go through? Maybe that's part of it where he has to give a piece of it to them. I don't know how that works exactly, but I feel like there's something like that where he doesn't want to do that. He wants to keep it all. There's something about the money in the RNC. And he does not see, oh God, I just feel his father. I just feel like he feels like he's a boy again, briefly. And he doesn't like it. He got out of that, and I think he's reverted a little bit. And now he's going to rallies, screaming, projecting all of these issues onto the president and the Democrats, that they did this all to get him out of the race. And this is what he always does. It's the same. But I feel like I see a chink in his armor. I feel like this is finally maybe pierced a little hole in there where you could get in. That's the feeling I get. Now, in the past, I've seen him as that dark chocolate cake and broken into chunks on the floor of the kitchen. And he was propped up a little bit in the back after a lot of the primaries, feeling pretty good. And I told you, I think the last time I saw him, he was sort of dissolving on the floor. Like from the top, it looked like he was semi-chunky. But on the bottom, it was like wet. And it's like dissolving. So I think maybe it reminds me of the Wicked Witch of the West in the Wizard of Oz. Again, there comes the Wizard of Oz, where she's melting into the melting, I'm melting. But yeah, it's like that. But he's a cake and he's in chunks. So symbolic, metaphoric. Yeah, it's a matter of time. He won't win the election. All the polls are just not accurate. I just don't see it. There's so many people that aren't caught up in the polls, that don't get their votes asked about in the polls. A lot of independents, people that by the time the election comes, they're going to change their mind, or they're going to not vote. Yeah, he's not going to win. It's going to be bad. But it'll be good, because he's an unhealthy person in many ways. So hopefully we just keep doing what we're doing. Now, let me see. Trump's call to arms. Now he's yelling, oh, I feel like those, what is it called? The 3%ers or whatever, or the 1%ers, or all those white pride groups that have been helping him are, they're talking. Some of them have kind of disbanded or gotten weaker a little bit, but others who haven't had the experience that some of the people have, or maybe they have, they're getting stronger and wiser, and they're more clever, and they're figuring out other plans. They're not going to do a January 6th per se, but I do feel like I don't know why I'm hearing Kentucky. Why am I hearing Kentucky? Maybe that's just where somebody's from. It's like there's a disconnect. Like he's trying to entice the black voters to come and be with him, be and vote for him, and showing he's a supporter of the black people ever since Abraham Lincoln. He's done more than anybody probably in history for the black people in their lives. But at the same time, he courts the white nationalists. I can't get it. I do not get that. How he's going to reconcile those things. I think he's grasping at straws. Almost, is that weird? I almost feel like there's groups of all these different groups that may become violent on his behalf. Not yet. They're going to plan something. I hope I'm wrong, but I see some crime-ish gangs that are using this as an opportunity to create violence and anarchy on his behalf. And it's going to even, it's going to upend, it's going to make us trust less the democratic process. And people are going to go, oh my God, it's chaos. I think it's going to come from several different avenues. Those white nationalists, and just good old boys from the country or wherever cities that are, they believe in him. So, but this time around, I do feel like there's a lot more police protection. There's a lot more security forces planning around his movements and the election. So hopefully it nothing like that big like January 6th. There'll be pockets. And I said this in my post recently, but maybe somewhere in like Michigan or somewhere like that, upper Midwest. There's something like that going on there too. They're thinking about it. They're out in the woods there. I hope I'm wrong. It won't be yet. And things are gonna die down, but then I do feel like some people are gonna take it upon themselves. And when he loses, because he will lose in the fall, that's when, between the election and the inauguration, people are planning for that time. Not maybe now, but they are going to accumulate those plans. I know that sounds scary. It's going to be okay though. It's not. They're not going to blow up. They don't have nuclear bombs. It's almost domestic terrorism. But the FBI and Homeland Security, stuff like that, they're keeping an eye on them much closer. Let me just kind of pull a couple more, just the call to arms. Let me see. Four of Cups. Okay, they're waiting. They're not very happy. Knight of Pentacles. They're going to move slow and make a plan. They're looking into the distance and they're planning. They're planning. Very slow. Both of these are like waiting and feeling. This one's about feeling sorry for yourself a little bit. I almost feel when I'm looking at this, some may drop out of the plans as they accumulate knowledge through various ways, maybe not through their normal news source. But maybe some of them will say, well, maybe he did do it and they just don't want to get involved again. But there's definitely some people out there that don't care. They want to fight for Trump. Will they? The Moon. King of Pentacles. More Pentacles. So that is tangible and that's real. Although this is an illusion. So, and see the octopus coming up to grab her. It's underground. I do think they're planning something, but I know they're trying to be organized and going on Discord and all those places where they can talk secretly or dark web somewhere. They learned not to post on Facebook. I do feel like there's a break right now, and it's going to be down the road a little bit if they do anything. I definitely think somebody's going to do something. Little pockets. And I don't know why Kentucky and Michigan came up to mind. Hopefully, maybe he, something. I don't think it's Joe Biden's going to go and they're going to sabotage that. There's a lot of protection for him. No. All right. So Juror's Safety. And then I'll look into his sentencing. I think Justice Merchan is just so careful and very thoughtful. Okay, Juror Safety. The 12 jurors. Page of Swords. The World. Oh, they're finished. They've been studying and now this dandelion, see all the seeds are going out into the world. And here's the world. Sorry, the reflection keeps getting it. She is, I feel like they really took their oath seriously, their civic duty. Knight of Wands, things are going to speed up for them. Let's see. King of Wands. There's fire, but fire for Wands, that's the typical thing. They're going to have to thread the needle. The jurors are going to have to really be careful of who they are speaking to. Of course, they know this already, but people that missed them at work and they're like, why aren't they here? They're putting two and two together, I think, some people. I feel like at least one person's going to speak up. And they are going to be under fire, I think. Juror Safety. Wow, I'm getting the pentacles again. Juror Safety. A lot of pentacles. Wow. It's real. The safety is real. They're making sure somebody's family is concerned of one of the jurors. I'm sure many of their families, that's the feeling I get, is somebody's protecting their nest, protecting what they have. Their safety. People are talking about them. And I know this is normally a celebratory card. It's a wedding or a party. But I'm looking at these two people very far away. They're kind of going out into the distance, not being seen. Let me do my paper divination for the juror's safety. So, some weird images. I see them all signing the paper. I see them in the jury room, or at the kind of a symbolic thing where they're sitting in the juror's box and they're signing the paper one by one. I don't know why I'm seeing tennis shoes, white tennis shoes with little ridges on them. And I also saw at least one person's going to speak up. There's a sense that up to 3 might together, because they will hear, people bad mouthing them and saying that they're corrupt or been bought or whatever it is. There's going to be 1 up to 3 that might get interviewed to describe what they did and how they did it and how thorough they were. Maybe their faces will be blacked out. Maybe that's how they're going to do that. But I feel like they are all understanding they need to stay like safety in groups kind of thing. Not literally, but that's the feeling I got, is they maybe even talked about making sure that they are protected. Somebody's in technology, or somebody's, it almost feels like they're helping each other in their particular skill level. Like somebody's doing technology to help everybody's computers or that kind of thing, to help, not let anybody, putting up a firewall or whatever it is so they can't get found out. Some people are just supporting one another. I do feel like outside somebody's house it's dark and they're not breaking in. I did all of a sudden saw Paul Pelosi and getting attacked, but it wasn't like that. It feels like there's something outside, like they're gonna put a flag on the line, they're gonna do something and vandalize somebody's house. I see that. I hope it's not true. And all of this is just images I see. You guys can help me decipher, but they did their job. They felt very professional. They were very organized and methodical. Yeah, I think they're being bombarded with offers to talk, but I don't know if people know where they are. Maybe there's some sort of secret way to get to them, but safety, I feel like that's it. They will talk, and maybe one person is going to get found out. It's in the dark and it's in a nice neighborhood. There's grass, so it's not, I know this Manhattan is more city, but maybe it's just symbolic like that, like Paul Pelosi. Yeah, they're talking. They're making sure, talking about all the possibilities and helping each other. All right. I think, and Trump sentencing. I said, Judge Marchand is not taking this lightly. He is being very methodical, reading law reviews or law books. And I've heard everything on TV from probation to 4 years in prison. I think each violation is up to 4 years and up to 20 years on. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not going to happen. I think I'm going logically in this world right now. I don't feel like he would get sentenced. But Judge Marchand has been very clear about the law, and I almost feel like he is taking it upon himself to have the courage of a patriot and do what's right, even if it costs him something. He wants to do what's right. But he will take into consideration so many of these different things. What Trump said, he's a first-time offender. It's a white-collar crime. Nobody was really hurt by it, except American people. Sentencing. Okay, I see like algae or like dirty dirt that's very mossy, like when an area like up in the Northwest where things don't get the sun out very often, the dirt gets mossy and just wet all the time. I feel like that's right under my hand. It's like this dank, mossy growth, almost on the verge of algae, like moist. I know some people don't like that word. It's a good word. Mucus. No, that's not a good word. Well, right now, I'm in his energy and I'm feeling like I get in his body energy. And I'm feeling right now in this moment, I don't feel like him giving him a heavy sentence, him that he will in this moment. But I know the sentencing it's supposed to be right before the GOP convention. I think they're going to ask to have it post convention. They might ask for like a delay, like a week. That's just for Trump to rally his troops, kind of thing. Right now, I don't feel the heaviness that Marchand's like going to give him a heavy sentence. It feels lighter or more empty. So that's telling me I believe that it's like probation or time served, or like in the past, I thought that he might get a fine of some kind. I don't even know if that's a possibility in this situation. I feel a relief from Marchand, like he wants to take some time out. Like he hasn't decided completely. He wants to just pull back, big picture, and then he'll make a decision down the road because there's lots to think about. But he doesn't want to make an example out of him. So nothing yet. Not decided, I don't think. All right. I think that was all I wanted to talk about. Thanks for coming by, guys. I really appreciate it. And let me know if you like this and you have other comments and anything. Love to hear it. And oh yeah, so next week I'm leaving again. I mentioned I'm going to Arizona to do that mural, but I'll be doing stuff here and there, just not like I normally do it. And then I'll send pictures. And all right, till next time, you guys take care. Bye bye.